Hi everyone, this is Menz here, playing the T37 American Light Tank. Now, I'm not using the top autoloader gun, but I am using the top turret along with the top non-autoloading gun. So, I do sacrifice a little bit of mobility in exchange for a bit better firepower, which I like on my light tanks. Now, there are three different options you could use for the T37. You can use the top turret with the autoloader, and you're pretty sluggish, but you have a lot of firepower and burst damage. You can use the top turret and the top non-autoloading gun, which I'm doing now, so you get a pretty good gun for a light tank. Or you can use the stock turret and a non-top gun, which gives you a lot of mobility. However, you lose a little bit of view range and firepower. So if you want to be a scout, you might go that option, but to me, you want the firepower, and even though you are a little slower with the top turret, you do gain a little bit of view range, and it helps out a lot, even though you are a little bit slower in the end. Now, since this tank has a pretty decent gun on it, I'm not gonna suicide scout or rush out there and do anything too retarded. So I'm just gonna basically play it a little bit safe, see if I can't spot anything. Now, a lot of times when the enemies get into these little bowls here, they have a pretty big advantage. So that's why I'm just kind of running along this ridge to hopefully discourage them a little bit, or hopefully my team gain a little damage in. Something. I don't want to go into the bowl itself, because if I get down there with a T-54 or something, he can take a chunk out of my HP. I do not want him to be able to. But I will push up to this first one, take a little bit closer of a peek, and then pull back a little bit, which didn't really see anything. But I don't have too much backup here, so after this I'm gonna move away. Okay, unfortunately our team is taking a lot of damage in the north, so instead of sitting here, I'm gonna try to go over there and help them a little bit. And whether or not I'm actually going to be able to do that, it remains to be seen, but I am very surprised this Centurion is not being lit up, because as you can see, I can clearly see him from here, along with that object. So with them not being hit, it's pretty telling that the people on the hill are not paying that much attention, because they have a lot better guns than me, and they should be able to hit these guys. Now I'm just freaking missing all over the place, which sucks. Okay, I lost my elevation here. But hell, if you're sitting on a freaking hill and your team's getting hammered all over the place, you might as well move up and help them. Now, let's just get a little hit in here. I don't want to stay here for too long. Our T95 is going to be a goner, so I'm out of here. Yeah, it's not the T95's fault. Yeah, he could have probably stayed back a little bit, but what the hell? It's not his fault nobody frickin' pushed over to help him. But one of the problems with playing light tanks is you're able to spot, you're able to do what you can and try to help out, but at the end of the day you are very reliant on your team. Now, I couldn't really scout the T-54s or push them because nobody on my team was in a place to actually do damage to them. And it's very unfortunate, because had they pushed, it might have been a different game. but our frickin' northern team just got dismantled, which enemy team just did a lot better job at pushing up than we did. And I thought that T-32 was aiming at me, so that's why I was moving a little bit. But might as well try to get a little bit of damage here before I die. Shit, now they're aiming at me. So let's just move a little bit further away. Just so I'm a little safer. Let's move back to these little bushes. This is Object 704, which I'm just critical hitting people, putting them on their sides, trying to hit their actual armor, but not really working here. Keep hitting the frickin' angled sections. But this just goes to show you that even though I did kind of spot the T-54s, this map a little difficult because I could have spotted the 9-0 line, but it would have ended the same way. I could have played a little bit more aggressive on the 1-3 line. Wouldn't have did anything. I would have got killed by the T-54s because my team was either sitting in D3, D4 or in the 1 line. I think they were sitting back in D1 in the beginning before they pushed down later on. So this is just one of those matches in a light tank where it's kind of a lose-lose, unless if you platoon with people and you kind of can work with them, but it happens a lot. And one-sided matches are definitely something you have to put up with if you play solo. Hopefully this guy does not shoot this Lorraine, but it looked like it was highly possible. But yeah, playing as a solo player, these one-sided matches happen a lot more than you would expect, and if you can platoon with people, you should, because even if you're platoon with strangers, then you have a lot better chance at winning, in my opinion. Even if you guys aren't the best people, working together and just kind of sticking together helps out and goes a far way. So overall, as far as experience goes, top 3. Damage wise, I only did 484. I did spot for 917 damage. So overall, not a very good match, but at least I made a little bit of a profit, and I can live the fight another day. Now, just looking at this, here's the upgraded turret, and here's the stock turret on the right here. As you see, upgraded turret weighs a hell of a lot more than the stock turret, and it gets 20 more meters of view range, which is very, very good, because 370 is a little bit low for a light tank. Now, I used the top 76mm gun, which, as you see there, average damage the same as everything except for that 75mm, and your penetration's a little bit higher, which is nice when you're shooting at tier 8 and 9 tanks. However, autoloader, very, very heavy. You can see weight 1395, this one 775, and then if you get down here to the non-top guns that you would use with the other turrets, or the other turret, not turret, they are a lot lighter. Now you would use the 76mm with the stock turret, I believe. But overall, I kind of like this setup, and I use ventilation to help a little bit with the reload and view range. I use code optics to help with the view range even more because I'm moving around a lot, and a vertical stabilizer to help out with the actual gun and moving around to do damage. Now, this setup, as you see here, you do not have a gun rammer on this tank, because with the autoloader, I guess they didn't include it, and it's a little bit of a downside because you don't get that equipment, but ventilation will help you in both the reload and your view range, so it's still not the end of the world. But being always on the bottom of your team does get a little bit annoying, but that comes with playing light tanks. Now, M24 Chaffee, still my favorite light tank to play, And do I think it's a little bit better than this tank? Yes, but only at scouting. It's not as good at doing damage. This thing, just due to its size and the speed issue, is a little bit worse than the Chaffee when you consider it is a tier higher, but it focuses more towards doing damage than scouting, which for a light tank can be a bit of a problem because light tanks, in my opinion, they should be spotting. Yes, it's nice doing damage, but you can't always do that. So you get these matches where you're really dependent on your team and your performance fluctuates greatly because while you might be able to do some damage in this thing, you're not able to hold lines and the enemy can just push right by you and kill you in 1 or 2 shots. So as a light tank, it definitely is good in the performance department, but for people who play a lot of high tier light tanks, you'll know what I'm talking about, especially if you play solo. So I'm going to hopefully pop down here, spot something, not die, and then I'm going to kind of pull back if they start pushing across here. Now I'm going to take a little bit more risky approach and pop along here and hopefully focus on driving and get the hell out of there. Oh shit. I freaking dodged my keyboard. Glad that didn't cause anything. So at least we stopped them from getting across the bridge there. So, job well done in my opinion. I didn't take a shot, spotted some people, and they start taking some damage. I'm going to peek over here a little bit, just in case if a few people were pushing, like that T37 is going to attempt pushing to get this ST1. Now, shit. I probably should have gotten a shot off and hit him there. I don't think I'm spotted. I don't have 6th sense on this crew, unfortunately. I still have my very good crew and my Chaffee. Very nice shot, T49. Yeah, shit. Our frickin' north needs help because a lot of our tanks are just kind of sitting back there with their thumbs up their ass. So I'll move back over this way. I'd like to stay north because I'd be a lot more useful at trying to flank. At the same time, if they take out this T95 that seems to be pushing up with a Death Wish, then we'll be even in a larger conundrum here. I'm just moving up here to provide a little bit more support for this T95 if people try to flank him. He's not able to see everything, and if someone tries to get behind him, then it's going to be a bit of a problem, like this light tank. Okay. Shit, I was about to say I'm about to be fucking hit. Don't shoot me. Trying to help you here, T95. Not exactly doing a very good job of it. Here we go, at least they tracked that guy. And fuck, I missed. Shot behind him. But he knew the risks of him pushing up this far. And he definitely knew what he was getting himself into. But he still has full HP, which is nice. I'm gonna pull back and push up with this STA-1. This tank, while its penetration is pretty good for a tier 7 light tank, it's not exactly great overall for a tier 7. So you do have to realize that against some tanks, even if you're shooting side armor, since you're fighting usually at a further range, you're gonna have to account for that because sometimes you just need to focus on doing track damage and tracking people. Because otherwise you're just going to be sitting there, bounce, 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 no damage. So aiming for the track wheels definitely does help. Now I'd much rather go this way. I do not want to be the first one around the corner with that T30 there. Hello, Mr. AMX.
Penetration.
Yes, I know you're going to shoot me here. Just wanted to get one more shot in, so you're about to die. Let's pull back a little bit. Hopefully that TD is not pointing my way.
Penetration.
Should be able to get a hit, one more hit on him before he's aimed in. Oh look, the guy's finally moving up. T-54. Yeah, I'm waiting for you to go. I don't want to be fucking shot by him. I don't want to be shot by his T-30 either. Okay, there we go. No! You kidding me? You had to shoot the little light tank here.
Critical hit.
And I'm probably gonna die. He's about to get another shot off.
We're dead for it. Everyone get out.
Hey, I forgot about that Jagged Tiger. I knew that PZ4 TD was dealing with other people and probably looking the other way. I forgot all about that Jagged Tiger back there. But unfortunately, that guy died. We're still gonna win though. So again, not the best match, but I did a little bit of everything, and against tier 9s, I probably pulled more of my weight than the other tier 7 on their team. But as far as damage goes, only 708, which, looking at their VK, he did not do any damage, along with their other T49 light tank. Now, experience-wise, a little bit better, but still middle of the pack, and I only spotted for 581 damage. So, not the best, but we're getting there. Light tanks, it's all about, yes, you're going to have the games where you spot a ton of damage and you're lighting up the board with that. But most of your matches, I just look to help where I'm needed. I might not do a shit ton of damage or spot for a shit ton if the opportunity doesn't present itself. However, what I do know is I'm going to be moving around and trying to help my team out where it's needed. And hopefully that's the little thing that pushes us towards a victory. So for encounter mode, the forest is still important, but if I go pushing right through the forest, I'm most likely going to die. So I'm going to see if I can spot a thing or two over there. If a lot of people don't head that way, I'm just going to kind of take a peek and see where people turn.
Move out.
Okay. To me, it's not worth me going over there. If nobody went over there, I'd go over there to spot. However, with just 2 tanks, especially one of them being an M4, it's not really worth it for me to push over that far. Which in my previous videos, matches I mean, I did mention that this is a tier 7 tank, but it is a tier 6. I was just kind of caught up in this being tier 7 gun. That's just a little bit of an oversight in my part. This M8 here, definitely don't want him to shoot me. That'll be some stupid damage if I take it. And I need to hightail out of here because their tanks are going to start closing in on me. Hopefully I can get away. Sometimes their heavier tanks will sit back here and wait for you to peel out to hit you. Okay, let's keep going. Don't know why that frickin' TD pushed up that far, but I guess he just wanted to die. And I'm kind of surprised a lot more people went to the forest than it looked like. I thought more people were going to head up over this way. So I guess I should have went over there to spot a little bit. Just spotting a few more things. I don't want to get committed and fight anything, especially with a T29 here. I should be able to hit him now. Let's take one more shot before someone aims in on me. And this little light tank, he's starting to push through, so I'm gonna move back there. But as you see, you do have a little bit of mobility issues, and I'm not accelerating very fast because I was on a slope. I am gonna move back to help with this AMX. Don't know if he ended up pushing as far as I thought. Shit, he pushed further than I thought. So yeah, unfortunately he got through and he got our SPG. Motherfucker, you just rammed me. You kidding me? And you fucking damaged my gun? You're really starting to piss me off here, dude. Gigas ran out of his clip, so he's gonna try to run away. I should be able to finish him off here. That's one of the problems of the new American light tanks that start with this tank and go up to tier 8. They suffer a ton of module damage, and their modules, even ammo racks, are pretty weak, so it is something you're gonna have to deal with. And fortunately for you, you're a light tank, so it doesn't matter as much as say if you're a heavy tank or a TD, but it is pretty annoying where it feels like your gun or ammo rack, engine, everything gets damaged with a shot, even from a tank as small as an AMX-12T. Just gonna kind of zoom on in. Hopefully I can get 2 shots in without him noticing me. He started turning my way. There's a T29 here, but I hope... never mind. He's not right where I thought he was. Hello, Crusader. You are gone. But unfortunately it wasn't from me. But you're gone enough from my book. You're not able to hurt me anymore. That guy's still looking at me. Still looking at me. Can't you point at one of the other frickin' tanks that you can shoot? He's hellbent on... There we go. Hellbent on shooting me, though. Lose-lose situation on his part. Either he's gonna shoot me, or shoot somebody else, but he can't cover everybody. But fortunately for me, this T29 is not pointing my way. Yeah, keep aiming at me. That's fine. You're not gonna hit me. You're better off shooting somebody else. And you're gonna be gone. Holy shit. that guy shot a lot later than he should have. So, finally, third time's the charm here. Pretty decent match. Mastery Bad second class. As far as damage goes, 1,828. Destroyed 3 tanks. Most amount of experience, because I did spot for a little bit as well, 391, and made a pretty decent profit. However, this tank, as you can kind of see by my first 2 matches, with the third match, my team set up a little bit better, and there wasn't any major concerns as far as enemies pushing in and me kind of running out of room to move around and be able to do damage with. Now, since this tank isn't exactly a scout tank, yes, you can do damage, but in that last match, I was facing tier 7, 6, 5, so it wasn't that big of a concern with me penetrating things. However, when you're facing 8s and 9s, especially 9s, there comes a point where when you're shooting at somebody, even if you have a flat shot in their side armor, since you only have 150 millimeters penetration, I don't want to use a ton of APCR in this, but that does bump it up to 200, which is very nice. You're pretty much just going to be trying to aim for their tracks and do some track damage. Mainly aim for the road wheels, or not the road wheels, basically the wheels at either end, so you have a higher chance of tracking them. But that's one of the downsides, is since you do see a lot of high tier tanks, while you do have a good gun on this thing, if you are unable to get a tank that you can penetrate, you're pretty much stuck at just flinging shells and hoping for the best. But you are an okay scout, you're just not the best. As you see, your upgraded engine here, 500 horsepower, which still is pretty good for your weight, but it's not as good as some other tanks like the Chaffee. We're just switching over here, a lot lighter, and the engine is a little bit weaker, but overall the Chaffee's smaller and is a lot more mobile. The T37 here is a much bigger tank, which granted it does need that because it has a better gun, and basically of course it's going to be a bigger target because its turret is like the old M24 Chaffee turret, which got moved up here. Which, do I think this is a good tank? Yes, and it does give you 3 different options, as I laid out in the beginning of the video, to kind of tailor to how you want to play. Now, I've played all 3. Personally, I don't like running with the stock turret because you lose view range, and while you're fast, you're basically gimping yourself to be more like the Chaffee, and to me, you're a tier 6 tank. You need to pull a little bit more as far as doing damage, and it doesn't really work out. Now, using the autoloader gun, I also did that. Yes, you can do a lot more damage because you have a higher burst rate or burst damage, but it is a little difficult using it because basically you need to expose yourself more. It's not exactly the most accurate gun, as you can see here. You do lose a little bit accuracy compared to the gun I'm using right now, and at the same time you do lose penetration, so you're even going to have a tougher time fighting against those higher tiers with the autoloader, and you're a lot slower, and for a light tank that is a very big negative. But overall, this tank, a very solid tier 6 light tank. Just like any light tank, it can be very difficult playing in public matches, and especially if you're solo. So if you're looking to go down this line, I do recommend it because I like the American light tanks, but just kind of brace yourself because light tanks can be a little difficult. But you certainly are rewarded at tier 7 and 8 with very good light tanks that are very, very fun to play. So anyway, thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel to keep up to date new videos I put out, and check out my website, wotguru.com.